All right. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Pete here with Roofr, and welcome back to the Masterclass. It's been a little while since we've had one of these, and happy to get back on here and get it rolling again. Uh, Normally have Nick with me today, but today I have Nate from our product team. We have a very interesting topic. I think it's a very good topic that needs to be covered. Doesn't often get covered in this industry, but has become a much more prevalent tool, and that is Zapier. A lot of companies going the Zapier route nowadays, and you're making their information available via Zapier to be able to push between two platforms. And so got Nate here from our product team who developed our Zapier integration here at Roofr, who's going to kind of walk us through today how that works. But first, I just want to talk about Zapier and what it does, and the purpose that it serves. I've always thought of Zapier as kind of a bridge, right? It keeps us from having to develop or need a direct integration with a software in order to make an integration work and be able to push information from one platform to the other. An if then statement on steroids is the way I always describe it. If you're familiar with Excel, that if then capability is essentially what we're looking at. And I'll let you kind of, Nate, go a little bit more in detail as to what Zapier does and how it functions. And then we'll kind of dive into it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, as Pete mentioned, super excited about this. Unlocks a lot of different options for our clients, which we're really happy about, and something that a lot of our customers have been asking for. So yeah, what's Zapier? Zapier is exactly as Pete described. It's a bridge between two platforms. And so, for example, between Roofr and any other platform that has an integration with Zapier, that has built out an integration with Zapier. Sort of the amazing thing about it is that, like Pete said, you don't need to build if you're looking to sync data between two systems, you don't need to build a direct integration. You can leverage Zapier to pass information between those two systems in a super easy sort of drag and drop, click through type way. And so it's a really great way, to pass data between systems, and it makes it super easy to automate some processes that maybe you were doing manually or by hand in the past. So we're hoping we're hoping that a lot of our contractors find it useful to save time, specifically on the data entry side of things. So the example that I wanted to walk through today is sending proposal information from Roofr to a CRM. So kind of the use case we're thinking about is that you have a lead in your CRM, you go to Roofr and work the client and actually get a signed proposal from Roofr. And we want to make sure, instead of having to go back to my CRM and update the CRM manually, I can just leverage Zapier to pass data directly from Roofr to your CRM. And the example we're going to use today is Job Nimbus. So we're going to show you how I might use Zapier to pass information from Roofr to Job Nimbus and sort of eliminate that data entry that you might have had to do by hand or manually in the past.
Yeah, and that's the key piece to this, is that so many times we end up with a lot of platforms that we're using, a lot of software, and there's this double entry scenario going on where, I'm using a CRM, but maybe I'm getting my measurements over here and I got to go over here and enter an address. And, then I'm creating a proposal in a different software, and pushing things around doesn't necessarily happen easy. And having to wait on the potential of a direct integration sometimes can be frustrating. We get this, we always get these wish list items, people saying, man, I wish this integrated with my CRM, or I wish this integrated with my proposal software, or whatever the case may be, right? You always have this, these asks, and Zapier has really streamlined that process for the industry, and allowing you to, like you said, just push it wherever you want it to go, right? I don't necessarily have to wait on Roofr to develop an integration with Job Nimbus. Now I can, use Zapier, or if it's AccuLinks, or if it's Job Progress, or whatever CRM you're potentially using, you could just push that information over there now, thanks to this. So let you go ahead and dive into it, Nate. And, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about it as we go, but let you go ahead and share your screen and start to walk us through the process of, as if I'm a new contractor, right? I'm new to this. Maybe I've been using Nimbus for a long time. They have a great Zapier connection, and maybe I'm new to Roofr. So I really want to sync my data so that I don't have to have someone manually going and doing that. So just walk me through the process. I know you guys have a Zapier integration. I'm a contractor. Show me how it works, right? What do I do?
Perfect. Yeah, sweet. So yeah, as Pete mentioned, use case, I'm a contractor. I want my systems to be in sync. And specifically, if something happens in Roofr, I send a proposal or sign a proposal. We sync that data back to Job Nimbus. So starting point is going to be Zapier.com and the homepage. So I'm going to set up, first thing I'm going to do is actually register for a Zapier account. And that's super simple. I'll just send you that link directly in the chat there. So if you want to follow along, if you're a Job Nimbus user and you want to set up a Zap, you can do so. So I go to Zapier.com and you can see I've got this single sign up on the right-hand side. I can sign up with my Google account, Facebook account, or my email. So just go ahead and follow the prompts through. If I click sign up with Google, I'm going to enter my Google account and follow the prompts to sign up for a Zapier account. So that should just take you a few minutes, and then you'll have your Zapier account set up. So from there, I'll end up on this page, and this is sort of the home page for Zapier. And it's pretty straightforward. It gives you a basic understanding of how the system works. So what we want to do, we want to create our own workflow. We want to connect Roofr with Job Nimbus. And so to do so, I'm going to go ahead and click Create Zap on the left-hand side here. So you can see on the top left, I've got this big button. I'm just going to click Create Zap. And so this is the if-then statement Pete was talking about. And the if component of the statement is a trigger. And a trigger is just, you can think about it as an event happening. So what's the if that you want to do something else in another system? So in this case, if a proposal is sent in Roofr, we want to sync data to Job Nimbus. So in this case, for my first step is my trigger, if a proposal is sent in Roofr. So I'm going to search the application Roofr. And you can see here, if I search for Roofr, my Roofr app comes up. And you can see it's got a little beta logo on it. And all that means is that it's still a work in progress. So we've got lots of, we're hoping to build it out in a more robust and complete way. But we've got a few trigger events available now, but we'd like to build out a much bigger suite of trigger events. So you can see here, I've chosen my app. My app is Roofr. And then what's my trigger event? So here's the list that we have available in Roofr today. We're definitely going to grow this list in the future, but here's what we have available. So if a proposal is sent, if a proposal is viewed, signed, lost, or adjusted, can be my trigger events from Roofr. And so the example that we wanted to follow today is that a proposal has been signed. So you can think that you've sent a proposal to a customer and they've signed it. So that's the trigger event. So once I've selected the trigger event that I want, I can click continue. And then it's going to prompt me to choose my Roofr account. So you can see here, this is a required step. Got my little Roofr logo and it's asking me to choose an account. So I can go ahead and do that. And you can see I've got a few already, but if you're following along, you'll just have the one here, which will tell you to connect new account. And so what we're doing is we're establishing the connection between Roofr and Zapier so that we can pass data back and forth between Roofr and Zapier. So I'm just going to click connect new account. And it's going to bring me a pop-up here. And you can see here, allow Zapier to access your Roofr account. And that's what we want to have happen. So I can just go ahead and follow this link to generate an API key, visit this URL. So I can just go ahead and click that blue link. And it's going to bring me to my Roofr account. You may need to log in if you have not done if you haven't done so already, or you're not logged in on a different screen. But it'll bring you to your Roofr account. So I'm just going to go back here, follow this link, and where I'll end up is in the company section in company profile. So that's where I'll end up if I follow that link, and I can just scroll down to the bottom of the page. And you can see this section titled Zapier. So add tokens to connect your proposal data to Zapier is exactly what we're trying to do. And I just need to create a token name and click create token to do so. So I'll just do Job Nimbus. This is my third connection because I've done this a few times, but I'll just do, you can title it anything you'd like, but something maybe relevant to the connection you're creating. And I can go ahead and click create token. And now you can see that I have a token with the same title that I've just created, which is a long string of characters followed by these two squares. So what I'll do is I'll just click on those two squares, which is a shortcut to copy that string of characters. And then I'm going to return to this pop-up window, and I'm just going to enter that string of characters into this text box. So there you go. I've copied it already. I pasted it in there, and then I click yes, continue. And give it a second to just work its magic. Perfect. So now you can see here, I've established the connection between Roofr and Zapier. So I can go ahead and click continue. And then it's going to prompt me to test my trigger. So it's going to, you'll see here in a second what that means. If I click test, now below is all of the data in this table here, all the data that's available to pass from Roofr to another system. And so you can see here, we've got who the author of the proposal is, the customer, address information. We've also got amount information, the status of it, and also a URL and a link to the proposal directly. So this is all the data that you can actually pass from Roofr right now to any other system, whether it be a CRM, an email, any sort of other system that's available in Zapier. And we're looking obviously to beef this up in the future to have more fields and more data available, but that's what's available today in our beta stage. So I'll go ahead and click continue. And then so I'm done my if component of my if then statement. So if a proposal is signed in Roofr, then I want to do something in Job Nimbus. So I'm going to go ahead and search for Job Nimbus. And so this is the action component. So triggers and actions are the two big concepts in Zapier. And so my action is that the first thing I need to do is find the relevant contact in Job Nimbus. And so you can see here, I have two ways to find, in the search section, I have two ways to find the contact because I'm assuming a lead already exists for the contact relevant to this proposal. And so I'm going to use the contact by email because that's we know we have a unique email on our proposal and we'll have a unique email in Job Nimbus. So I'll go ahead and click find contact by email.
I think one thing to note here too, Nate, and you and I have talked about it before, is that, Job Nimbus does have one of the larger selections of triggers and actions in Zapier. And, depending on what your CRM is or what you're looking to push this information to, it is contingent on what the other side has available. Just because we have a trigger that may be appropriate for what you want to do, you have to be able to find an appropriate action on the other side to make it work. Right. And, so I think that takes, it's important to note that here. I think Job Nimbus is a great example of someone who's built out a really robust Zapier integration. They have a lot of triggers and actions that you can do. Some of the other CRMs specifically in our industry are a little bit more limited in what they can do. So, just wanted to note that there. So if you are potentially looking to connect this to another system, just note that, it could be a little bit of a challenge depending on what actions are available, and a potential to maybe go back to the other side and say, hey, I'm looking to sync my Roofr proposals. Could we make more actions available, if I want to sync other things?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For example, just as Pete mentioned, Job Nimbus is pretty well built out. Some of the smaller CRMs have less triggers and actions available. Like maybe, for example, AccuLinks or Jobber might have fewer, or they might have more, but typically Job Nimbus is pretty good. So same concept as I described above between Roofr and Zapier. For our trigger, we're going to complete the same thing for our action. So we've already established a connection between Roofr and Zapier. Now we need to establish a connection between Job Nimbus and Zapier. So I can go ahead and I've connected a couple already, but you can see here, same exact idea that we followed before. I'm going to connect a new account. And I'm going to click. So same idea. It's prompting me to click here to get my Job Nimbus API key. The exact same thing we did a few minutes ago with Roofr. So now you can see here, copy the API key below and put it in the field that was in that pop-up a few seconds ago. So I can just double click there, copy this string of characters, and then I'm going to return to that pop-up and I'm going to click continue. Oh, I have an extra space. Hopefully it worked. Excellent. And then what we're going to do now, so we've established that connection between Job Nimbus and Zapier, and then we're going to find the relevant contact. So the way we're going to do that is the contact that we care about. We know the email is going to be the same email that was in this signed proposal. And so you can see these fields with the little Roofr icon here are all roof fields from the proposal, which are available. And so I'm going to go down to the bottom and find customer email, which is the email that we're going to search for in Job Nimbus. So I'm looking for the customer who has this email, johnqpublic@example.com. So I'll click continue. Hopefully my extra space in my API key doesn't cause us any problems. Looks like it was successful. Perfect. Yeah, so we can see here now that I found this contact. Here's the unique identifier for this contact in Job Nimbus. So it's JNID that would mean that each contact has a unique identifier, and I've found that contact which has the correct email, which is johnqpublic in Job Nimbus. And you can see here I've got a little bit of information about what type of who this customer is. So then I can go ahead and now what I've done, all I've done so far, I've done sort of three things. I've connected Roofr and Zapier. I've connected Job Nimbus and Zapier. And then on the action side, on the trigger side, when a proposal is signed, we look for this specific contact in Job Nimbus. And now I want to actually update that contact to make the two systems in sync when a proposal is sent. So I'm going to have to create a second step in my Zap. And so I go ahead and click this plus to create a second step. Then I'm going to do, again, one more search for Job Nimbus. And then I'm going to choose my action event here, which is going to be to update contact. And so again, just to reiterate, when a proposal is signed in Roofr, I look for the contact in Job Nimbus who has the same email as my proposal. And then I go ahead and update that contact. And so I'm going to go ahead and click continue. It's going to prompt me to connect the same account. I'll click continue. And so now what I will do, the ID that I care about is the ID that I found in the previous step. And you can see how this is a required field. So the ID is a unique identifier for the contact. So I'm going to search this in this section here for find contact by email and Job Nimbus. I can open that section and then I can search for, or I can find the Job Nimbus ID, which is this one, JNID. So I use that as my ID. My display name, it doesn't matter. I can use the proposal field because that's going to be the correct field we want. So we can use customer name, which I think I scrolled over. There we go. And then you can see I have a whole host of other fields that I can update. So these are the two fields. These required fields are fields that we're using as sort of a reference that we're looking up. But anything else I can update. And so, for example, if I wanted, you wouldn't want to do this, but if I wanted to change the customer's name, I could do so by adding the Roofr field in here. If I wanted to add, the next step, before I move on to other fields, is just setting that contact type. And then the sort of meat of what we're trying to accomplish right now is updating the status. So you can see here, my Job Nimbus statuses are lead, appointment schedule, no damage, estimating, signed contract. And so what we want to have happen is because a proposal has been signed in Roofr, we want the status to be accurately reflected in Job Nimbus without us doing anything. And so the way we do that is we set that status name to contract signed. So now what will happen is if a proposal is signed, we find that contact and we, update the status to signed contract. I could also populate a number of other fields here, like description, for example. I could populate with any of this data that I wanted to. Like, let's say, for example, I wanted to put the total maximum amount of the proposal. I could do that here. I could also put in any of the fields here that you would think might be relevant. For example, like what the PDF URL, which I'm just looking for. It's hidden. Here it is. So that would be a link to the actual proposal itself, will be available in the description there of the contact. sales rep name. I could also add if I needed to, and any other fields here are all sort of fields that I can populate with data that's available from Roofr to populate in Job Nimbus. But the core of what we're trying to accomplish right now is just updating that status name. So then I'll click go ahead and continue. And I'll just show you my contact in Job Nimbus right now. So you can see right now that the status for the contact is lead. And so just when I test this right now, we're going to pretend, or it'll test that all these steps. So it'll test that a proposal has been signed in Roofr. We find that contact and we update it in Job Nimbus. So I can go ahead and do that test right now.
Yeah, and I think the key thing to note here is that the idea behind this is we want to limit the amount of jumping back and forth between two softwares, right? Obviously, there's going to be a time and a place where we're going to have probably multiple software platforms. You know, if you've gone with a more robust quoting platform like Roofr, you know, and outside of your CRM, like you're going to want that information to come in and you don't want to have to hop back and forth. And this is key, right? Like this is going to sync all that. It's going to update statuses for you. So you're not having to manually go back in, or God forbid, you know, someone gets a quote signed in Roofr and forgets to go back in and update the status. You know, you may have, you know, other things in Job Nimbus that have to happen that are contingent on that status being updated. Now it's automated, right? And just by using this Zapier connection, we don't have to worry about whether someone went in and manually fixed it or updated the status to make sure that those, you know, subsequent activities are taking place.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a huge value add here, is like just eliminating the data entry and eliminating errors that can occur when you have somebody manually managing these two things.
Right.
So you can see now, because I just tested this, it was sort of, we tested the trigger. If I go to my Job Nimbus account and I have, and I look at status again, if I refresh the page, now you can see my status is up to date. So I've got now, instead of automatically, I didn't do anything except test the connection, my status has now been updated to contract signed. And so that's sort of the core of what we can accomplish with what we're doing right now with our Zapier connection at Roofr. Right now, we only have, or one thing I should note, maybe you should name your Zap. So again, just do your Job Nimbus, or name it at the top so you're not confusing yourself in the future. And then we can go ahead and turn on our Zap. And then if you return to the previous page, I've got a whole bunch, but you can see there's a list of, you'll see your list of Zaps that you've created. Here's the one that I just created. One thing I guess worth mentioning probably, Pete, is right now at Roofr, we're limited to what we can do with Zapier just because the product is still in development. So again, if I search for Roofr right here, we don't have any actions available. So you can see here, we only have trigger events available right now, i.e. that means you can only push data out of Roofr right now. You can't accept data into Roofr. And so something that we're going to be doing in the very short term, next few months, is actually building out those action events so that, let's say, if you create a lead in Job Nimbus, you could create a contact or create a measurement or proposal in Roofr using the details of the contact that you've created in Job Nimbus. But for the time being right now, we're focusing just on the triggers, and we're going to build out a bigger integration sort of in the next few months.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great thing to know, and I think that, as things develop, this will become more and more robust, and it gives us more potential to integrate with more softwares. And I think Zapier is becoming a more and more prevalent tool to use. And you see here, I think what did it take you? Maybe a total of 15 minutes to set that up, so it's a tool that I think once you've gone through this process one or two times, you really start to feel comfortable with it. It's really an easy process to use, right? And it's fairly simplistic. Zapier has done a great job of making this a pretty straightforward process to connect the two softwares and get what you want accomplished done. So I think that, it's just a matter of, what's available on both sides and how we can make that work best for us. And, like you said, I think that we'll continue to make our side of it more stout and add more functionality there, to give, our customers more potential to utilize it across the board, both incoming and outgoing.
Absolutely.
So kind of to shift gears a little bit here, if you guys do have any questions about Zapier or setting this up, or you hit a snag, if you're trying to do it yourself, feel free to reach out to us. Our customer success team is set up to help you guys out and really facilitate getting you going on this. We want you guys to utilize it. I mean, that's, a huge piece of it. The more customers or the more contractors that we have utilizing this Zapier integration, then the more sense it makes for us to make it more stouter and add more functionality too. So, definitely reach out if you need help with that. But to shift gears a little bit here, we've also added another feature, and that's around our teams model. Traditionally when we were set up at Roofr, if you had multiple users that wanted to use our software, they had to create their own account, right? So we had you may have let's say you have a small team, maybe you have 5-6 individuals, each individual may have their own account. Each individual has their own billing. I can't really see what's going on. Maybe I'm the business owner and I have 4 or 5 sales guys underneath me. We all have accounts. I have to either log into their accounts or they have to tell me what's going on because I don't necessarily have access. So what we've done is we've developed this teams model. And what that allows you to do is create a team automatically here by creating an account. It's going to create you a team. And then you can invite individuals from your office to be part of that team and roll you all under one account. So I'll just kind of have you walk us through really quick, Nate, how I can set that up. It's very simplistic. And then we'll kind of cover, what the teams actually covers, who's the admin and what the other users can see and things like that, what the functionality of it is at the present moment. But I'll have you just kind of show how we set that up really quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So by default, if you're the only user of your account, you're going to be the admin of that account. And you'll see this new section in your company tab. So if I log into my Roofr account and I'm in company, I then navigate to team. So you can see here, we've got a new section called team. And then you'll see I'm the only, or Oscar rather, is the only member of this team right now. So if I had a couple sales members, sales teammates that I wanted to add to my account, is that I could just go ahead and add their emails right here. And I can click send invite. And as you can see here now, this invite has been sent to this email, sales@gmail.com. And if that's my sales team member's email, he just follows the link in his email to join the account. And so I could do that for my ops manager. Also do the same thing. And you can see now I've got these 2 pending invites. As soon as these teammates follow the link through their email, they'll be invited to my team. And so some of the sort of different, the way this works is that each sales user who is added only sees the measurements and proposals which are relevant, which are their own. So if you're invited to a team right now, you're sort of a standard or a sales user, and you only have access to the proposal and measurements which are relevant to you, which are your own. So that means that sales members don't see each other's proposals, they don't see each other's sales measurements. And so it's sort of a safe and secure way of managing your sales team. If you're the admin of that team, you can see everything. So you can access the billing information, you can go ahead and see what your customers or what your sales team have pulled measurements for, what proposals they've sent to their clients, what the status of those things are.
Yeah, and that's the key. And, this is widely available. It's not like it's on a specific package. We've made this available to any users really on Roofr. So, it's a great way to just keep your team organized, right? As a team owner or a business owner, now I can see what my team is purchasing. I can see what proposals they're creating. I can see who's doing what. I can literally look at a measurement and see who created it, keep an eye on it to make sure I don't have anybody, as a contractor put it the other day, going rogue and just creating a bunch of measurements that aren't necessary, so you kind of keep everybody in check that way. and it's all consolidated under one billing, which is a really nice feature as well. I don't have to have, multiple accounts with multiple credit cards in them, or multiple billing situations. I can kind of keep track of it all. And then, that way, it's much easier to stay organized as a company. So, and there's no limit, correct?
No, that's right.
Amount of team members. So, depending on how big your company is or how small, doesn't matter. You can plug them in there and take advantage of that feature and really utilize it to its full capabilities.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, as Pete mentioned here, you'll, as an admin, you'll still see exactly who created the proposal, when they sent it. You can make sure you can manage the statuses, all the amounts. Same goes for measurements. I don't have any in this list right now, but you'll be able to see who did what in both of those two tabs.
Yeah. So, as we kind of finished up here, I just wanted to say, I think that the product team continues to do a great job of making tools to make the contractor's life simpler and more organized and more streamlined, and these are two perfect examples of that. Zapier being able to take some of that process that we have traditionally done manually and automate it. And then Teams, obviously, to just kind of organize ourselves a little bit better and be able to kind of keep better track of things. I appreciate everybody coming today. I appreciate Nate joining us, for his first webinar here. And
my pleasure.
And running us through that, our technical guy there. So appreciate you jumping on and knocking that out. And, like I said, if you guys have any questions around Zapier or Teams, feel free to reach out to any of us and, hit up your customer success manager if you're already using our subscriptions, and we can get this rolling for you and take full advantage of it. And, we will see you next time. Appreciate everybody coming.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you.